Right, so in this video I'm going to do another completing the square problem, and I'm going to use this function here, y is equal to 3 minus 4x minus x squared. And what I'm going to do in this is I'm going to look at, first of all, writing it in completed square form, and then using that to find the roots of the function. And then I'm going to have a look at, the turning point of the function, the vertex of the function, in other words, and the axis of symmetry of the function, and we look at sketching it as well. So let's have a look at this function here first of all. Now we're going to complete the square. So normally what we do is, well, what I'm going to do first actually is just rewrite it. So I'm just going to put the x squared first. It's actually a minus x squared. There's a minus 4x and there's a plus 3. Now you got to remember here that the coefficient of your x squared needs to be 1 plus 1 first of all. So what I'll do is I'll just take this minus outside a bracket here. So that's minus x squared. You'll need to change the signs here. So that's minus x squared, minus plus is minus, minus minus is plus. So we've just taken the minus 1 if you like, divided across by minus 1 if you like, or factorized, taking minus 1 out. Anyway, you see what I've done here. Now, what I'm going to do is take this function here, or this part of the function in here, and I'm going to complete the square. So let's see. What we normally do is we take the coefficient of the x, we half it, which is plus 2, then we square it. So we were looking at 2, we need to square it, so that's 2 squared, and then we're going to add it and subtract it. So in other words, it's going to be 4 here, okay? So what we end up with here is x squared plus 4x. Now I'm going to add 4, subtract 4, and then we've got our minus 3 here as well. So all I've simply done here is just put these two in here, plus 4 minus 4. So I haven't actually changed this here. Now we can take these bits here, x squared plus 4x plus 4, and I can factorize this section of it. So I can just, if you like, just isolate this part here and factorize this part here, this quadratic trinomial here. So let's have a look at doing that. So I have this minus here. Now I'm going to take this part here. If you factorize that, what you'll end up with is x plus 2 times x plus 2, which is x plus 2 squared. So that's this part here. Now I have a minus 4 minus 3 here, so that's just simply minus 7. Okay, so now let's just take away this large bracket here, or the outside bracket. So what we end up with is minus x squared, or x plus 2, x plus 2 to be squared. And remember, this minus times minus here is going to give us our plus 7 here. So we've taken our function y, or f of x, and we've rewritten it in completed square form. Now, we're going to do a few things with this. We're going to look at it and look at the different numbers here and see what we can do with it in terms of drawing a graph and solving and so on. So we have a minus here, this part here, this is a minus 1 if you like, minus 1. So that means our function is going to look like this. It's going to be an upside down u, because we'll end up with a minus x squared. Now what we're going to do then is look at the axis of symmetry. So down along here you'll have an axis of symmetry. It divides the graph in half. Now the equation of that axis of symmetry in this case is given by this number here, 2 plus 2. What you do is you change the sign to minus 2, so the equation of this axis of symmetry here is going to be x is equal to minus 2. X is equal to minus 2. The other thing we can read off from this this version of our quadratic is this number here, and this number here will give us the coordinates of this point here, the vertex of our graph. It'll give us the coordinates of that, and the coordinates will be, obviously our x will be minus 2, so we need to put in a minus 2 here, and the y will be 7. So the coordinates of this point here will be minus 2, 7. Okay, so the last thing then I need to do is just find the roots. So our x-axis will go along here like this. We want to find this point here and this point here, the x values. In other words, where y is equal to 0. Where is y equal to 0? So this is our x-axis here, okay. Now, so let's do that. So we want y to be 0. So let's put that in. We've got x plus 2, that's going to be squared, plus 7. So let's just solve this for x. When y is 0, so when y is 0, what will our x value be? Okay, so we can bring this 7 over here, so we end up with, sorry, this is actually a minus here, isn't it? So what I'm going to do here is bring this 7 over here, so that will become, or subtract 7 from both sides. So we end up with minus 7 is equal to minus x plus 2 squared. Now, I can multiply across by minus 1 to get rid of this minus and this minus. So here I'll end up with 7, here I'll end up with x plus 2 squared. So I've just multiplied both sides by minus 1. Now when you look at this, then you've got a square here, so let's square root both sides. If I square root both sides here, I get square root 7. Here I just simply get x plus 2. Now what do I need to do? I need to get rid of this 2 here. Oh, by the way, it's actually when I get the square root of the right hand side, I get x plus 2. When I get the square root of the left hand side, I actually get plus or minus the square root of 7. So we end up with two answers. Remember, here we have two roots, so we're going to end up with two x values. So we get the square root of the right hand side, we get x plus 2. Square root of the left hand side is plus or minus the square root of 7. Now let's bring this 2 over, or subtract 2 from both sides. So that gives us x on this side, and on the left hand side we end up with plus or minus square root 7, and then our minus 2 here. So these are our two roots. So our roots are going to be x is equal to square root 7 minus 2, and x is equal to minus the square root 7 minus 2. So these work out to be approximately, just give it to, let's say 3 decimal places. This one here is going to be, whoops, I'll just get rid of that. So we have two roots here, so let's see, this top one here, square root of 7 minus 2 is going to be 0.646, 0.646, and this one here is going to be negative, that's going to be minus 4.646, just the 3 decimal places, which will be good enough because we're just going to sketch this this thing here. So we have a number of things here we can use to sketch this particular graph. We have two roots, so we know where it's going to cut the x-axis. We have the equation of the axis of symmetry, which is x equal to minus 2, and in fact we have the coordinates of the vertex here, minus 2, 7. So let's just draw that. I have a scale here, an axis here, so let's just do that. Now we have our roots. Let's just put those in first. Our two roots are minus 0.646. So that's going to be somewhere around here. Okay, so we just put a dot there. Our other one is minus what was it? Minus 4.646. So we put another point there. Minus 4.646. So it's going to be around here somewhere. Now our axis of symmetry was x equal to minus 2, and our vertex here was minus 2, 7. Minus 2, 7. So let's put in minus 2, 7 first of all. So we got minus 2 here, and we'll go up to 7. So our vertex is here, and we have an axis of symmetry going down along here as well. So really all I've got to do now is join these up. Now you'll have to forgive me for this. I'm not great at doing this, but you'll get the general idea anyway. So let's see, we're going to go up along here, up along here, around, and back down through our other route. So our function will look like this. Now it's a little bit shaky, but you get the idea. So this is what our function will look like. Now I'll just stick in the axis of symmetry as well. Our axis of symmetry is x is equal to minus 2, so that goes down along here like this. Okay, so that's it really. That's our completing the square and using the completed square form to find our two roots. Here our two roots are minus 4.646 minus 4.646 0. That's this point here. and we have 0.6460 on this side. This point here, the coordinates of our vertex are -2 and 7 is our y coordinate, and we have our, the equation here of our axis of symmetry. That's just going to be x is equal to -2.